Pasadena, California, mark your calendars. We're coming to your city. Get ready for a unique 3v3 experience. Saturday, March 9th. Enjoy an innovative, non-stop play environment with more dribbles, more passes, more intensity, and more fun. Register today at airpitchusa.com.
To everybody who was unable to make it as well. Wonderful. We'll give everyone another minute or so to get in and we'll get going. Again, if anyone coming late has any questions, please feel free to put them into the chat. I can try and answer a couple now while we wait for the last few people to come in. And then all my contact details, if there's something I've missed, if there's something you're not sure about, again, they're at the beginning of the chat going forward. Okay, let's get ourselves going. Hi, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I'm Matt Bambrick. I'm the CEO of SoCal Youth Sports. We will be providing the soccer and a large part of the administration for the spring season this season with AYSO Burbank. This is the third season that we've run the season like this in partnership with AYSO Burbank. Really excited to go and get the season started again. I know the coaches are excited to go and see some old faces as well as some new ones. As I said at the beginning, my contact details to ask any questions that may not get answered are at the beginning of the chat. And if you do have any questions as we go through, please feel free to leave them in there. And I will take a second now and again to take a look at any questions that come in. So just a brief intro into who we are and what we're about. I think for me to summarize this in the best way possible, it's about providing unique experiences for the kids, an experience that focuses on them and requiring adults to jump into their world and being child-centered, understanding what that means and how we go about it by being engaging and ensuring it's an enjoyable environment for the kids to play in. But also a program aimed at the parents who are looking for something that may be going beyond just parent volunteer coaching, whether they want something in a bit more depth, and to make sure that soccer and any sport is available and affordable and accessible 12 months of the year, regardless of financial backing, but also regardless, and the professional coaching support in particular, regardless of ability. I don't think it's the top 5% who should have the access to coaching or the ones that have that explicit love and desire to go and do it. We're trying to offer this across the board to anybody that wants it. Just a brief intro on me. Again, I'm Matt Bambrick, clearly from Britain. I'm from Birmingham. And again, the reason I started SoCal Youth Sports in particular was to go and fix what I saw as a problem, and what the research and the evidence tells us is somewhat of a problem in the youth sports environment. And the main thing to realign to what we're really here for is for the betterment of the kids, not just the soccer players, but also as people, and trying to align the ambitions and the aims of everybody involved in the program. Just a little bit of background on me. Worked with two previous Premier League clubs in their foundations, being in and around and having access to some of the best coaches in the UK and two of the best academies in the UK. For any Premier League fan, hopefully you would have heard of Morgan Rogers this year. Came through the West Bromwich Albion Academy in the time that I was there. Never had any direct interaction, but for the caliber of the people I was working with and the club I was working for with Aston Villa as well. On top of that, of working with a former Manchester United Academy director who worked alongside Manchester United during their highest performance, definitely not in recent years, but their highest achieving years during the 90s and building a program in Ireland, which we've taken parts of to bring over some of United's most influential players during the 90s and early 2000s, on top of working with FC Bayern to try and find the elite players in the West Coast and the USA to send to Germany in their academy, but also a varied background working in creating, again, unique experiences, unique leagues. When I was working with the Football Association in England to create a communities league, which welcomed in new immigrant communities, at-risk individuals, recent releases from Juvie, to give them a community and something to be a part of and to grow into, to help assimilate into life into Birmingham in the UK. The biggest part of, or the biggest difference that we offer at SoCal Youth Sports compared to all the other programs around is our NanoSoccer. For those that have been in the program before, this should be fairly familiar. Um, we believe that for the kids, that the coaching behaviors and the way we approach the game of soccer and sports in general in the youth environment need to become more tailor-made for the kids. These are not miniature professionals, even if they do turn up in a full Adidas uniform. We're dealing with young people, young children, many of whom are egocentric and don't have a worldview yet. They don't see the world beyond themselves. So our job is to create an environment that they can understand with their limited worldview, and then to be able to integrate the soccer at a part of it, but also try and add the building blocks to help them grow as a person. We use NanoSoccer in particular because it supports a backed and evidence-based long-term development view for developing young people and young athletes in the four corner model. The technical, tactical, physical, and psychological elements of the game need to be incorporated and constantly thought about as we look to design environments and sporting atmospheres for the kids. The key part of this is no individual corner can act on its own. All four corners need to be present at all times. What NanoSoccer does with this development is takes the knob and turn it up to an 11 and 12. We're really trying to um, dial up the intensity of the game for the kids. And this isn't just intensity in terms of the physical. We don't want them running around as headless chickens. We want them to be able to be part of games that are enjoyable, engaging, that offer them lots of opportunities to make decisions, which is a key part of the NanoSoccer and part of the game, to be more technically capable and confident technically with the ball at their feet, giving them more access to the ball at their feet, um, getting more opportunities to repeat the actual physical outputs of the game in the game shift in rhythm. Soccer is normally a high intensity interval sport, but it does have its moments of slowness, and part of our job is to get the kids to understand that from a technical and tactical point of view, not just the physical. And then probably the most important corner that engulfs everything else is the psychological and social side, and how we develop the young people, the children um, through soccer. And again, from the prefix, I'm sure you can all appreciate the how NanoSoccer does this is to radically individualized the development process. We're going deep down into 1v1 and 3v3. For anybody who caught the news, the big sporting news in the week, the English FA on top of the German and the Belgian FA have just moved their entire grassroots model to start a 3v3, like our own model here. And this is something that's going to develop throughout the world in the years to come. So it's nice to be a little bit ahead of the game from some of the bigger associations. But this is where soccer, and in particular youth soccer, is going. And this is how we feel, how the evidence and the research suggests that to get the most out of the game, and again, not talking creating the next Messi's, but to get the most out of the game for the kids, how much more engagement we can get into the kids. Again, simple maths, a 1v1 or a 3v3 versus 77 9v9. The percentage ball share between all of the players is dramatically increased when they're in our environments, which massively allow them to develop all four corners of their development model. So why us? Obviously, you guys have all signed up. I'm delighted to see a lot of familiar names within the group chat and in the sign-up process has been putting the teams together. What we've tried to be about, as you can tell with our NanoSoccer program, is to be unique and revolutionary, to offer something that's not out there and to use the research and the data to help drive us, not to be a pure brute force of personality, which we see in youth sports so often. We want to make sure that as a team of coaches and a program, we're all pulling in the same direction. We all sing off the same hymn sheet because this is a mark of quality for any good program across the world. We have educated and enthusiastic coaches that are hopefully going to work with your children to develop and cultivate a love and understanding for the game and be the people that they remember for the rest of their lives. And again, to attain to support the kids in attaining their potential, again, not just as soccer players but as people going forward. We want to create good people on and off the field. We often say to our kids, you can't be a good player without being a good person first. So what do you guys need to know for this season? Firstly, we're a partnership. I don't believe in the coaches here and the programming here and the kids are here and the parents off to the side. I don't think that's conducive for the kids to have the best time, which is our overall objective. The partnership between the parents and the parents and the coaches is key. But what we do ask for from the parents is a couple of simple things, is to understand our environment, that we are play-based. Everything is about play. We are not structured. We're not drills. This is not the military. Kids don't learn that way. They don't enjoy learning that way. And this will be discussed in a later slide. But what we're asking for from the parents is let them play. Take your hands off the remote control whilst they're playing their games and not joystick them around the field, and help us create an environment where they feel free from fear. They feel like they can make mistakes without consequence or retribution, and they can go and enjoy their soccer time without having to look over their shoulder at coach, mum, dad, uncle, whoever it is, looking for their emotional reaction and to pin their own emotions on your reaction. We need to work together as a group, and we'll go through the ways in which we can do that. So just some simple dates for the diary. Obviously, we're here on the Zoom today. Practice starts of Tuesday next week. You should have all received your team assignments as well as your practice days and times. We are sorry we can't give everybody their specific time. In spring in particular, due to the size of the baseball program in Burbank and our ability to access fields, we keep everything as centralized as possible. There's only so much space with lights, and we are doing our best. If there is any major problems, please contact me about those. With practice starting next week, games also start next week, as does our Epic and Schoolyard program. Schoolyard and Epic are all fall under the same coaching principles as the league in general. All we do to our environments in Epic and Schoolyard is tailor to the age and stage of development for each individual. So for the Schoolyard, obviously being about our youngest players, our first entrance into the soccer world, we don't go over the top with them going to practices. We don't feel the need for them to do that. An hour a week with us is enough to begin with, and still allows them time to go and explore other sports and activities elsewhere. And then with our Epic program, for players that have different requirements of care and support. Again, we stick to the same principles in coaching because a principle is a rule that covers across all aspects of life. But again, the environment's tailored and the support is tailored towards those individual kids. We do have a break for spring, as requested by so many of you so often, and is a put in stone right into me when we do build out the fixture lists and the practice schedule. And then the final week of practice is the end of April with the last games, weather and acts of God permitting, being on the 3rd of May. And if those numbers are wrong, I am prone to a typo, but we understand the general area we're working in. We're looking at a 2-month, 8-week program with a week break in the middle. So again, to dig deep into the detail for you guys, obviously here tonight, part of tonight is for me, on behalf of the program and for the coaches, is to set the standard and expectation of what they're going to deliver, but also what we need from you guys as part of our partnership. After this and during your first week of practice, the kids will go through a dress rehearsal of NanoSoccer for those that haven't played. But then at the end of that practice, you'll get to go and meet your coach, and your coach will reiterate some of the points that we put across before in this meeting and over our communications channels, but also to cure any pain points for you and provide even more clarity about what's going on. This includes the ever fun snapped rota and any banners and fun stuff that you guys want to do to, again, help build this partnership and help make the atmosphere and the environment for the kids as fun and free and friendly as possible. The big part for everybody is to make sure that you have PlayBook Connect downloaded. This is the center of our world. This is our communications from me through to your technical directors down to your coaches. This is how you'll communicate back and RSVP and give the coaches notice of when you're away. We understand that life happens, but giving us a heads up of knowing what to do, when to do it, really does help with that. These are the links, and this PDF will be sent to you with the links as well as being available on YouTube to go back and watch. For the PlayBook Connect, and this is the icon you'll see in the stores, you should be able to access it through the email you signed up for with AYSO. You should have already received a number of emails from me regarding the team placement, the practice days and times, as well as the bonus clinics that we offer as part of this program. And if anybody if anyone does have a problem with the app, again, contact me. We'll help you out as much as possible. So getting into a little bit more of the soccer stuff, when you sign up for the league as an individual, each individual then is put into their age groups, and then each age group is split off into a club, and one coach oversees one club, and one club has many age groups within that. For us as a coaching program, this allows us to, again, set the right environment for the kids. If we've got a U8 who's doing really well, needs more challenge, we can move that U8 up to get that challenge. If we've got an inexperienced under-8 player who may be on the smaller side or the inexperienced side, we've got the option to move down. But the best part about this is that it's a streamlined process. Your coach knows your child, your coach can have the conversation with you. We can tailor make our environments to what the needs of the child are. When it comes to the match day, again, every match day, every team will play at the same time. Every team will have the same coach every week. And we'll always play at Providencia Elementary to try and streamline and remove any other hassle or thinking out of your guys' busy schedules. I'm sure with a few of you with multiple kids can appreciate where we're trying to come from with this and what we're trying to achieve to help you guys and keep the kids in soccer. Again, we don't think it should be a choice. We've got to be able to work together on those things. Based on the feedback we received in spring and our Pasadena League in fall, we've tweaked again our formatting slightly, just to match the age and stage of the kids to the size and the complexity of the game. So U10 will stay as what it was. U6 and 8 will have their season split into half between 1v1 and 3v3 to give the youngest kids as much of a balanced diet of soccer through the season to get that individual work, which they all need constantly, but also to not negate the team aspect. For people who weren't here last year, U6 just played 1 versus 1, which again worked really well. It may have been a little bit limiting, and again, we're always open to feedback. With U8, they played 1 quarter of 3v3, but feedback from the coaches was it wasn't really enough to have a major impact. So we're hoping now we can balance this out, we can tailor and tweak as we need to. But these come from recommendations from you guys. And again, this comes back to the partnership with the parents. We send out our end of season survey. My email is always open to send it to. I will put a small asterisk above that. I can be a little bit slow to respond sometimes, but I will always try to get to any questions that come up. And in terms of the communication through the season, go to your coach, then we go to our technical directors on the field, and then your next spot is me to make sure you get the fastest response possible. Here are our teams for the season. The league is split into 6 clubs: Arsenal, Everton, Newcastle, Chelsea, Crystal Palace, and Tottenham. Very London-based field this season. And then this is an example of how it breaks down. So Coach Stephen, who's our technical director for AYSO Burbank with SoCal Youth Sports, will have these age groups. He'll have these through multiple training sessions a week. And then on Saturday, all of his teams will see him regardless. So again, we've got a straight approach. We have an understanding of where the coaches work. And in my honest opinion, the best coaches I've ever worked with and ever watched, they're the ones that are able to go up and down the coaching ability spectrum, but also the age spectrum as well. And we find people purposely who are able to do that. So when it comes to the communication for you guys during the season, again, PlayBook will be the center of your world. One of the biggest asks we're going to ask of you guys through the season is when it comes to communicating anything to do with soccer during the season, if it happens on a Saturday, we don't bring it up until the Monday. We're asking for a 48-hour break from dealing with problems on the field with your coach. Our objective from start to finish is to give the kids the best environment possible. Can we physically do that all the time? Do things happen? Yes, but our ambition is always to do that. One of the aims with the Monday message and the refrain from coming to us on a Saturday after a game or even a Sunday is to try and remove some of the emotion from the game. We all get impassioned. Soccer's a very passionate sport. But again, we want to remove the emotion because our objective never changes. It's unwavering. It's about the kids. It's not about the coach. It's not about the parent and how they felt it went. We are aiming always for the betterment of the kids. We all have good days. We all have bad days. There are always things going on at home when the cones get put away. What we ask of you as the parents is to still see that and to understand that with the coaches. At top, we are always trying to do our best. As a program, we're always doing our best. So this allows us the space to go and do that. With that Monday message from your coach, 99% of the time, if there is a problem, it will be brought up with inside that Monday message. By then, a resolution's probably found because we're able to communicate clearly without multiple stories. And again, it feeds round back to the same principle. We want the best experience for the kids. You'll then get a message from your coach on PlayBook, not TeamSnap, forgive the typo, on Friday, previewing the game for the weekend, a reminder of expectations of arriving early. It's for the betterment of your kid. Arriving early means that they're not coming and missing the first few minutes of their game. They're not coming and seeing chaos and feeling overwhelmed, as well as who's in charge of snack this week and any other nice little bits and pieces going on, as well as a review and a preview for the weekend ahead. Most of you have already signed up for it. We do offer supplemental extra coaching through the season. On Friday nights, we have goalkeeper skills and striker clinics. The link is there and the link will be in the PDF. You can also reach out to me about that link. The one thing I will say about these is if you're not sure about a date, please don't sign up. It is first come, first served. And again, we're trying to impact as many kids' lives as possible. So please be aware not to steal a moment of somebody else's time if you are not sure. So for you guys in the parenting aspect, what do you need to bring? What's your physical part in all this? Very, very simple things. Cleats, shin guards, socks. Please put them over the shin guards. Do not put shin guards under socks. The socks acts as an extra layer of protection for the kids, but it also removes the shin guard as any issue as they're moving, as a tripping hazard, falling off, making them unprotected as they play. We need the shin guards to go underneath the sock. We'll provide everything else for the kids: balls, cones, pennies. Not sure what Steve means. Again, forgive my typo in this, but anything related to soccer at all, we provide for the kids. Each practicing game, your kids will need a lot of water, in particular when we do 1v1 stuff. It is intense, it is a lot. They will need lots of water. A small bottle of Pure Life or something like that isn't enough. We're talking a good litre of water may be needed for each kid. One of the bigger bottles for sure to help them out with this. And for the game day in particular, it's not only a nice communal thing to do as a team to have a snack after the game and to maybe watch kids in the rest of the club play, but after a game, really good opportunity to get some good foods into the kids as well. So what to expect on match day? This is physically what NanoSoccer looks like. So when we talk about our 1 versus 1 scrimmages, the kids will attack 2 goals and they will defend 2 goals. We use this because it offers better spatial recognition than just get into space. We can talk to the kids and get them to understand finding the open goal. From this, we're able to communicate and to get across ideas of twisting, turning, tricking defenders, teasing defenders, and we get some of the technical and tactical elements out of this with as little communication as needed, but with a huge impact. There's no corners, there's no throw-ins because throw-ins are rubbish. They can't head the ball, so what's the point having them? Get the ball down, get the ball playing, get the kids on and comfortable with the ball as much as possible is the aim here. For when U6 and U8 play NanoSoccer in the 3v3 version, same setup as 1 versus 1, but obviously they have teammates in this game. They've got somebody else to pass to. One small thing that we always do get asked about the 1v1, where's the passing? My honest opinion is, one, it's highly overrated if you're not an individual player who can hold on to the ball, whether there's a pass on or not. If you can't hold on to the ball, it's much more difficult. So we're putting the kids in a really uncomfortable circumstance of having limited options, but to problem solve out of those options. The second part is with the 2 goals, when you've got the ball, it essentially turns into 3 versus 1. Essentially, the small goals aren't goals. We talk to the kids as their players receiving a ball. And then when it comes to U10 through U14, they'll play with goalkeepers and single goals, 3v3 and a goalkeeper at U10, 4v4 and a goalkeeper at U12, and 5v5 with a goalkeeper at U6. When it comes to the schedule, this is what your schedule look like. Your time not to get to the field, but to be ready to play is 8:45 or 45 minutes past the hour, or for any Brits among us, quarter to the hour. Again, this isn't the time to get to the field. This is the time where the coach takes over. Your kid is ready to play. Shin guards are on. The water is already down at the bench. Not at 8:50 or 10:50, 8:45. They are ready, all ready to go with the coach. They'll do a warm-up game and they'll go and play their games. I can't stress to you how important that is. The kids that end up having Saturdays where they struggle are the kids that come later, are not prepared when they get to the field. And I understand, again, I have huge empathy for all you parents. There's a lot going on, but as one massive achievement for the day, no matter what else happens, the timekeeping one is the top level gold star in our book, because the rest of the day then is easy. We'll take the kids for an hour. You put your feet up, put your podcast on, have your seat, have a relax, and we'll do the rest. Some of the age groups that we do have this year don't have full teams. So what we're aiming to do with this is, or to tackle this is in two ways. If there's only 5 teams in your division, when it comes to a week where you don't technically have a game, that's not a problem. You'll have an extra training session with your coach. The second way we're going to tackle this is within our teams, again, with our only parameter being the choice of day and maybe a person they want to play with being the separator between kids. There will be a complete mixed bag of abilities. Some kids may need more opportunity to be successful. They may be smaller, they may be less experienced, and your coaches will work to get them a game in an age group lower down. Or if your child is on the opposite side of that spectrum, we'll look to make sure that they can play up, they can get the challenge needed to develop them. What we're always aiming for every child is not 100% of success or failure. We need a 70-30 balance to make sure the kids are enjoying it, they're engaged. And again, we tailor our environment. We're not a one size fit all. We're very flexible in our approach because that's what the kids need and demand from us to get the most out of the program. When it comes to match day, again, as we mentioned, get to the field early. Make sure your child sees the soccer coach and they know where they're going, and then being ready to go straight away. Um, if you're done for the day, just to help the coaches out because we have 4, 5, 6 hours on the field. Some of us 7 or 8, depending on when we get there and when we leave. If a field needs to be collected in when we're done with it, please ask the coach if they do need some support. They may be going game to game to game to game to game, and sometimes it does really help us to go and do that. And it's the small things that make the biggest difference sometimes. When it comes to practices for the kids, again, the parameters for sign up, we don't do a draft, we don't do tryouts. Again, I don't think those are fair in a recreational program like this. I honestly, being very transparent with you, I don't think they're the most conducive in a competitive background, but that's for one of my other TED Talks. But when we get to the actual the practice days itself, again, there might be a mixed bag. There's people that have different experiences and different wants and needs out of this. Please be empathetic and aware of these. Not everybody is the same. When it comes to the coaching, we have a specifically defined program about what we do and how we do it. The coaches follow that program and they follow it to the age and stage of the program. The main part of this is it's about playing. Again, we're not in the military. We don't do drills. The isolated technical practice thing of going in and out of cones, passing the ball 5 and 10 yards, and the research will back this up again. The transference of doing that type of block practice or rope practice compared to doing contextualized in-game practice as we do. The isolated old school practice does not transfer to performance when it comes to a game. It is more difficult to coach. It does take the kids a lot longer to pick up all of the technical and tactical ideas. But because we are partnering the technical, tactical together with the physical and psychological, the long-term effects, the engagement and the enjoyment for the kids is much higher. I'm sure some of you have been through programs like this and have had that coach where you're dribbling out of cones or you're doing suicides back and forth or going for laps, constant laps, and coaches using exercise as a consequence to poor behavior or performance. Those things don't fly in our program. We don't do them. Don't expect to see them. If you see them, come and talk to me. But this isn't any pillar of our program at all, and we don't tolerate it and don't expect it through this season. For the kids, again, day one, similar to going to school on their first day of school, early is always better to get accustomed, meet their team, have informal conversations with their teammates and their coach, making sure that for the coach in particular to make sure we're planning the right things and adapting our games as we need to. The RSVP setting is available in PlayBook. And again, final note, everything is about play. The best way kids learn is through play. So we're going to play and then play some more. And this is what we talk about, and this is what we mean for your children and what we're trying to do and how we're trying to impact them and what we mean by child-centric. There are not many professionals, there are not many adults. We play a child-friendly version. Our environment is a child-friendly version. We go into their world. They're not going to my coaching session. We're going to their coaching session and we're going to put on something to help them, again, be engaged with the game, have fun with the game, and learn from the game. We always start with the individual first. We don't treat everybody the same. It's about me, my ball, my game, and how we develop those three things. Me being the most important, then with the ball, the next, and then their game and understanding and intelligence within the game next. One of the big parts of this and how we ensure a risk-free or a consequence-free or a fear-free environment is that we don't always necessarily praise just for the outcome of a behavior. Sometimes something goes wrong, the bobble of a ball, you hit the outside of the post, not the inside of the post, can go wrong. What we're always doing as coaches is observation of what's going on. What are they doing it? How are they doing it? When and where are they doing it? Is the decision of what they're doing the correct one in the moment they're in? If it is, even if there's no success out of it, we love that. The intent of a proper outcome and a positive outcome needs to be celebrated just as much as a goal or a great pass, because these are the layers that build up over time that help kids build in confidence. And then they're not constantly looking from us or you as the parents for affirmation because they know they can do things and they can make mistakes and mistakes are fine. This is when we see the development really accelerate. And again, to go along with our playing philosophy, it is chaos. The more chaotic it looks, the better. As adults in the game, and coaches in the game, and parents watching the game, our job isn't to simplify the game to where it doesn't look like the game. Our job is to guide the kids through the game so they can see the chaos, they can understand their part in the chaos, and then they can decide what to do. They have both hands on the wheel of what they're doing all the time. It's frantic, it's chaotic, but that's what kids love. That's where they learn the best. So these are all, again, things that you should be able to hear and what the coaches share as a vocabulary of coaching between us. Again, we never look at one thing in isolation. All of these are put in all together all the time. And here's an example of the detail we go to when we're talking about our sessions and how we go about them. You can see how they align in the four corners of development. We have a basic understanding of what they're going to do and what games they're going to go and play. We have progressions because we believe that having 6 activities versus 1,000 activities is more conducive to a progressive environment. We look to target the individual and the group within all of our progressions, and we have our set out coaching points when and as we need them for who needs them at the right time, and some extra bonus parts for the kids dependent where they are on our coaching spectrum as well. So again, we're not just turning up, deciding what we're doing on the day. This is a very well thought out, detailed, designed, and progressive program that the kids are going to go through. And why do we do this? Essentially, if we want to get to this type of thing and we want our kids to be involved in adult soccer at any level, the kids need to go through this to do this, one, for quality, but two, for engagement in the game. I know I'm happier being engaged in a game 50% of the time, sharing a ball against one other person, versus at the age of 7, having to share it with 14 other people. And that's when I'm in the game. And that's one big part of what we're trying to do with NanoSoccer, in the game all the time and always about the game. We look to build the individual. We want to build the individual with other individuals in the power of we in small groups. Again, child friendly. It's their world that they can associate with. They can handle small groups and individual work. And as the kids grow up through their ages and stages, this is when we start to see more of a tactical implementation of certain roles and ideas. We don't ever coach positions. We get kids to play in every position and to rotate around. We get them to understand roles based on the spaces they're occupying and where the ball and where the danger is at any other time. From a 3v3 and a 4v4, these relationships are the bedrock to anything in soccer, especially when it comes to larger formats. Even when we don't touch them, we're trying to prepare your child that if they stay engaged with the game and if they want to go and play the game more and more and more as they get older or even at higher levels, they're fully prepared that they understand these roles. Because at the end of the day, when it's 7v7 or 9v9, It's the roles that matter. And 7v7 is a duplicated 4v4. 9v9 the same way. We add players, and the complexity of the game is the interrelationships between the players. Essentially, the more we can do of these things, the easier this is for the kids. But we can't get to this thing, and we don't want to put kids in this thing if they can't do the individual stuff first, if they can't do the small group stuff first. I'm sure some of you have been part of programs before or been watching kids, or even in your own experience. We know the kid that gets stuck out and right midfield and gets about 4 touches of the ball every 40 minutes. We want kids to have 4 touches of the ball every 4 and 5 seconds. And that's our big difference to every other program around. So that is all of the stuff in terms of what we're aiming for in the soccer elements and what we're providing for the soccer elements. We do have a fundraiser coming up before we summarize what we've gone through. We do have a 3v3 inflatable air pitch tournament coming up on the 9th of March. You can sign up as a team or as an individual for this. The proceeds will go towards building scholarship funds for kids who've been affected by the fires by the Eaton fire, who are still looking to participate, whether it's inside our program or out. We want to be able to have a fund available to go and support kids wherever we can go and do that. And there are sponsorship packages involved in that as well, and all these are available on our website. But to summarize for you guys, the center of your world is on the PlayBook Connect app. Your schedules, the game schedule will be up very, very soon. We're allowing the last few people to come in and sign up so we can ensure that every team is filled to its brim to make sure every kid gets an opportunity. When we know the finalized teams, we can finalize the game schedule. In terms of what you need to bring to the the practices and games physically, shin guards and cleats are a must. Black shorts and socks go a really long way just to help with the look and the feel of it. We want the kids to feel like I'm a soccer player today, and tons of water going forward. And the most important part, smiles and enjoyment of the whole thing. My biggest recommendation for you guys, as parents, from my experiences and the experiences of staff and other parents we've been working with, is firstly, your job is to let them play, to let us coach, let them have both hands on the wheel. For you guys, the journey is the fun. Watching the highs and the lows is all part of it. It's no reflection on anybody, whether it's a coach or a parent, on the performance or the pedigree of any child, but it's the ability to watch your child go and play, go and have these experiences, and go and to learn from these experiences, whether they're positive or negative. They're always opportunities to go and learn from. And again, my objective and the objective of all the coaches is to make sure that the kids get an enjoyable and engaging environment where they're able to learn to play and they can play free of fear and can take on risks without fear of judgment or retribution. I'm really, really looking forward to a positive season, and I'm excited to see so many of you on the field again. This is the part I can turn to you. As not being a parent, I'm sure there are things I personally missed out on. So I'm going to open the floor to you guys. If you do have a question, can you put it into the chat and I will do my best to answer it here. Okay, when it comes to, I'll deal with that one for Christopher. Thank you for letting me know. And I will look into that. This may have just been an issue migrating the data from AYSO to PlayBook. Does anybody have any other questions? I've probably muted. You can absolutely add another email into PlayBook. If you go into your account, there should be an area to go and add a secondary email under communications and marketing. There should be an alternative communication on there. The games will always be in the morning. We're trying to have a set schedule for you guys. We want it to be consistent and simple for you as much as possible. So the games will always be at the same time, at the same place, with your coach every week. The teams are co-eds. Spring is much, much smaller than four, so the teams are co-ed. This doesn't mean that everybody's playing together. For the younger age groups in particular, we often have two fields side by side that are running. What the coaches try to do for the kids is to make sure the abilities line up. So again, the coaches are always in conversation before the games, and we're trying to make sure that in your 1v1, the four games your kids are going to have today, they're going to be against the right opponents for them and their age and stage. And then this isn't necessarily about gender because we want the individual kids to be in a place where they're challenged regardless of gender. Thank you for that question, Paola. Jesse, black shorts and socks for the games mainly, but it does help with practice. Again, if they look the part, they feel the part, and everybody wins, it's always a bonus. Not to say that we're not opposed to colour. It's still recreational. It's still meant to be fun. Thank you for that, Jess, or Jessie. Apologies if I butchered that. Nadia Jones. Nadia, if you email me if there is an error about where your siblings are placed, or if it's just the case of they're in different age groups or in different clubs, I can look to move them. Can you email me separately? Karen, Schoolyard and Epic is only on Saturdays. We are working to develop the program, but we want to do it in the right way and not to build things that we can't promise or fulfill on. So there's no weekday practice, and there never has been a weekday practice for Schoolyard or Epic. This is something we are looking to target longer term. But again, we want to make sure that we've got the right individuals to deliver it going forward. Andrea, thank you for your question about having same genders. When we go through the process, I do this to the best of my ability. The first parameter I always look at is the one that offers you the most flexibility. It's when you can train. Sometimes the genders do get overlooked, and I apologize for that. If there's a specific error or issue, please email me about that, and we'll look to make sure that that works. Again, we are still in the process of building teams. We don't try to cut off the sign up early. We want as many people to play as possible. That's part of who we are as a program. It's then my job to go and fix that and make it happen. So if you do have an issue and if you've already emailed me, please email me again and I'll fix this issue for you. Thanks for the question, Andrea. Does anybody have any more questions in the chat? No, missing games not a problem. Again, life happens. As much as I love soccer and soccer is my entire world, life happens. Things come in the way. It's not a drama or a problem. Again, Lindsay, the whole program is set up for flexibility and to create and be flexible with environments. One person missing, four people missing is never the end of the world. We can make it work. The biggest thing I'd say about that is RSVP in the app so your coach knows. And again, if I've missed anything out, please let me know. Tanya, email me and we'll look to see what we can do. No promises, but again, we want to create the right environment for the kids. Please email me and we'll look to make that happen. One last chance for any questions. Yes, they get a lovely t-shirt for the season. They don't get the full uniform like four. Again, something is lighter than four. They get a uniform that will be delivered on the field and will be given out by your coaches. last chance for questions. And again, the practice schedule's already on the app. Again, we're waiting for the game schedule. It's not going to change your time or day or location. The game schedule is really just who's going to play against who. But all of the games will be at the same time, dependent on your age group. I will be sending everybody a copy of this. It is in there in our table. U6 schoolyard is at 8:45, and then they're sequential all the way down. Scrimmages and games are the same things in our vocabulary. Scrimmage games, matches, it's all the same things. When we talk about games in practice, Robert, we're talking about how we set problems for the kids. But every Saturday will be a scrimmage, unless you're in one of those divisions, Robert, where we may have one team less than even or an odd numbered division. Then the kids will get one, an extra training session with their coach, or two, the option to play up or down, dependent where they are. And that's as a conversation with the coach. But Saturday is always game day. We want it to be fun and lively and colourful. So anything you guys can do to work with the other parents and to do this, fantastic, and we'll help where we can as well. Is there a password needed for PlayBook? No. If you can't access it, either hit the forgot password or email me and I'll send you a magic link. Your game time will be the same every single week, regardless. Your age group your age group start time, not kickoff time, will be the same, no matter what. The only time it had ever changed is if you're changing age groups. The last call for questions, and we can go back to enjoying our families and get excited for soccer for another season. Right, wonderful. Thank you everyone for coming. Again, there'll be a version of this on YouTube to follow up with, as well as the PDF that I walked you guys through will be available in your email account as well. If you have any questions, my phone number is 323-991-7668, and my email address is matt@socalyouthsports.com, and both of them will now be in the chat for you to copy and paste, because that always makes life much easier as long as I spell them correctly. I'll give everyone 30 seconds to get a screenshot or a picture of those, or you can paste those. Other than that, thank you very much again, and I'll see you all on the field very, very soon.
Pasadena, California, mark your calendars. We're coming to your city. Get ready for a unique 3v3 experience, Saturday, March 9. Enjoy an innovative, non-stop play environment with more dribbles, more passes, more intensity, and more fun. Register today at airpitchusa.com.